I'm live. Once again, Calix Boxing. Wanted to talk Jermall Charlo versus Brandon Adams. Sort of a lackluster fight. Not sort of. It was, quite frankly, a boring fight and pretty much what you would expect coming into this fight. However, being a fan of the Contender Series, I've watched pretty much every season of it. This season was okay. I like that they showed the fights in their full length this series, but this season. However, I was interested because Brandon Adams got this fight because he won the Contender Series this past season on Epics, I believe it was, and that's how he landed this title fight against Jermall Charlo. He was a guy who sort of had a name from that series and edged his way into this fight, and it was sort of a way to keep Charlo busy with sort of name recognition and an easy fight. And I was hoping that Brandon Adams would show up. I was interested in this because I wanted to see how deceptive this Contender Series is because they made Brandon Adams look very good in the Contender. However, you looked at the lineup and you see Shane Mosley Jr. is in the championship, so the competition can't be too good. I don't think much of Shane Mosley Jr. And from what this fight showed was, Brandon Adams is just an average fighter. And when you get into a fight, when you're fighting the champion in his hometown of Houston, you got to go out and get it. You got to go out and take it from him. Brandon Adams just didn't have that in him. Threw 334 punches in the whole fight. You're just not going to get it done throwing, 30, 40 punches per round, if that. So he had to go out and take it from Charlo, and he just didn't. And he had opportunities because Charlo just hurting his left hand in the second round. And you saw it. It was obvious to me that he hurt his hand. Tried to disguise it as much as possible and continue to throw it as much as he could. But Brandon Adams just didn't capitalize on it. He was too afraid of that right hand and the punching power that was coming back at him to get more active in the fight. And it ended up being an easy coast for Charlo. I was also interested in this fight because Charlo is a guy, and Carcino spoke about it in one of his videos a couple days ago in saying that he thinks that the Charlo brothers are overrated and just average fighters. I wouldn't go that far, but I've seen, as several people have spoken up about this, several holes in the Charlo brothers games the past few fights. You saw it with Jermall in the Cora Bowl fight, and you also saw it with his brother in the Harrison fight, the fight which he lost. And I thought that was a good decision. You're starting to see holes in their games. And I think, given their opposition, you shouldn't be seeing their holes in their games yet because they haven't stepped up to that top elite fighter level yet. And speaking of Jermall Charlo, I thought it was a decent performance from him, given the left hand was hurt. However, you look at where he's going to go forward. He's going to have issues being that he's not with he's with the PBC. Now, other divisions, you look at welterweight, you're with the PBC, is wide open for you. You got many options. Middleweight, not so much. A lot of guys with DAZN, DAZN, whatever you want to call it, and not so much with PBC. He doesn't have too many in-house options that are interesting. And also, he's going to be probably on a shelf for a little bit for the rest of the year, possibly with the hand. We'll see if it's broke or not. But you look at what's possible with him going forward. He's a WBC champion, the full champion, or whatever you want to call it, not the partial champion, the full champion. Triple G is the number one contender at the WBC, Triple G. So is that fight possible? He's with DAZN. I don't know. Can they make that fight possible? I'm not sure. Will Triple G fight Canelo? I'm starting to see Canelo's going to move up and possibly fight Kovalev. Oh, my God, if that happens. What a fight that would be. I'm starting to think that Canelo just not that interested in middleweight anymore. So Canelo is not going to be an option for him. He's not going to get the Canelo fight. Andrade, he fought in a snoozer again on Saturday, but he won another easy fight for Andrade. So is Andrade a possibility? I don't know. When you look at business-wise, politics-wise, these fights could get in the way. These fights could possibly not be options for him, being that he's with the PBC. If you look at guys who are in-house at 160, really The only options for him are Korobov rematch. Is he going to do that? I mean, Korobov obviously earned a rematch, but Aleem, a guy who went life and death in a draw with Korobov, and that was a good fight. So is he a possibility? I believe he's with the PBC, so that could happen. You have guys at 154 with PBC. Harrison is there. He beat his brother, but Harrison's going to be fighting his brother in a rematch, so that's not going to happen. I just don't see many options with him for 154-pound fighters coming up either. So I don't know what the options are with Charlo. And he needs to do something quick because it's sort of that thing where people are starting to get tired of Charlo, the Charlo twins, sort of having these lackluster, boring performances and wins, or even losses as far as the Harrison fight went. And they need an elite fighter on their resume. And I don't know if Triple G is going to be there for Charlo. I would hope that happens. It makes sense. He's with the WBC champion, full champion, and Triple G is the number one contender. But can they make that happen with the PBC and the Zone? I don't see why not. Just make it happen. But we'll see, because that's a very good middleweight matchup if Triple G versus Canelo isn't going to happen, which it seems like week by week as we go on, that's not going to happen. I definitely don't see it happening in September. And if Canelo is going to move up and fight Kovalev, like I said, man, oh my God, if he's going to fight Kovalev, what a fight that would be. I'll do a separate video on that because I think I know what Canelo's team is looking at. Obviously, there's deficiencies that Canelo can take advantage of when fighting Kovalev. But Kovalev can still punch, man. He's a 175 puncher. 175-pound puncher. Legit puncher at 175. Brutal puncher. So I see what Canelo's team is looking at. He's a long body to bang on. But still, I don't know. But hit me up, man. I see a couple of y'all. What up, D-Style? You don't like the fight? It's random. I agree. Well, I don't know if I agree with that. And we'll speak about that, D-Style, on your podcast on Wednesday. Put that on one of the topics. I wouldn't say it's definitely a random fight. You're right about that. But I don't know if I dislike it. I don't necessarily know if I dislike it. I think both fighters could take advantage of some deficiencies in the other fighter. But we'll talk about that. I'm definitely going to do a video on that either later today or tomorrow leading up to D-Style's podcast on Wednesday. And I'll hit y'all up. But I got to run, man. Peace out. Thanks to y'all.